Good morning, Cocaine. 7:48. Happy Friday to you. Let me catch my breath here for a moment.
Oh, my goodness.
The whirlwind. Party with Lance. Partywithlance.com. You can check him out. Somebody new, who's not new, but new, kind of new to WSIC, but not really new to WSIC. Jaime Gatton joins us this morning here in studio. Hey, Jaime.
Hi.
How are you?
Tough act to follow. Especially for somebody who's not a morning person.
You're a night owl as well. Is that right?
Oh, I'm a terrible night owl.
Are you?
Yeah. As soon as I got behind a school bus this morning, I'm like, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Seeing people running and walking, feeling real unhealthy, you know?
You've been in news. How long would you say you've been in news?
So I started as a reporter. It's such a weird story, but fate. I started at the Tribune in 1997 in Mooresville. And then, but I was a receptionist at the Gazette before while I was finishing college. And the Gazette was turning into the Trib, and they're like, well, we have two receptionists. So the editor of the Gazette was like, well, she can actually write. So take a look at some of her samples. And so the editor, Dale, I've always called him like a second dad because I was 19, 20 at the time. And he was like, come on, part-time, feature writer. So I started as a feature writer, and then a guy came in by the name of Michael Rossler, who still happens to be a very close friend of mine, and actually my partner at the Scoop and at the Mooresville Scoop. And he did investigative reporting, and I was like, that's interesting, And then he left to go to the Independent Tribune, and when he left, I noticed like there's all that stuff he was reporting still has to be happening. Mm. But nobody's covering it. And so I went into my editor's office, and I was covering schools at the time and human interest. And I just told him, I said, I know that stuff has to still be out there. And so I said, why don't we play good cop, bad cop? You have a town board, reporter. He needs to continue talking to the town. They don't need to talk to me for me to get the information that I need. So let me start over here. And he goes, give it a shot. And so that was 2003. And I think consecutively in 2004, 2005, 2006, we got state awards for investigative journalism and community service awards, which is the highest award that you can bestow on a community newspaper. So we were all over the place, and doing that heavy lifting. And I credit my editor for teaching me everything I know. He grew up, I think he was Michigan. He was Observer, like he was a hard nosed reporter. So he just kind of let me go out there and make sure my T's are crossed and my I's are dotted, and I never got us in trouble. So, 2003. And then whenever I stopped working for the paper in 2006, whenever I had my son, and once again, spent about 2 years going, somebody's going to come in and pick this work up, right? And by then you got a lot of sources and connections, and I'm hearing from a lot of them that it is still going on. And so I decided to start my own blog, and that was the Gatton Report. Worked on that one until about 2013, and then was like, well, tired of this, and took a break. And then 2018, the people start knocking again, and I was like, don't make me find my password. And since I couldn't, we just started the Mooresville Scoop, and then it was on from there. But, I'm in and out. Usually I try to get what I tell people, and a lot of people don't believe it because I know I seem to be some controversial or, somebody that loves conflict. I don't. I spend 90% of my time behind the scenes trying to solve a problem before it ever has to come out. By the time it comes out, it's because I've exhausted every single option to make change. So the goal is to make town employees happier. It's to make businesses happier. It's to make sure the community is happy, because that's who I hear from. That's who I care about. The taxpayers, make sure they're happy. And so when they're not, we try. And then if you get the resistance of the hills on the ground and they're just digging, which government is very, very, very much known for, then there's not really much more choice.
Now in 2025, I think a big conversation for folks is what is news? Mm-hmm. How do you define news?
I'll always define news the very same way I always have, which is the eyes and ears of the public. Like, you deliver what they're talking about. Now, social media has changed the game, and the Scoop, like the blog, I even took it down because I was like, you know what, I'm done. I'm finished. I've done this long enough, and but my Facebook and my Instagram I had maintained for mostly business spotlights and just human interest type things. Social media it's a blessing and it's a curse. It's one of those ways where I know that I can reach people. But I've also seen news in some people's minds apparently consist of putting out there what you hear or what you think is accurate, and then watching that spread like wildfire, and without making a phone call to confirm. And unfortunately, I've seen news outlets turn to the very same thing, and it's frustrating. It's heartbreaking because it's like this is not what journalism is. You're supposed to be digging. You go in, you use your sources, you develop those sources first and foremost. That takes some heavy lifting, but it takes some time. It took me probably a couple of years of building trust. But then you dig and you start actually asking the questions, and the questions that the taxpayers want to hear. Instead, what we're doing right now is, again, punting something out on Facebook and then sharing it like it's gospel truth, whenever it could just very, very easily be, verified or not by a single phone call. So I make that phone call and, or shoot that text or send the email or whatever, then get it confirmed by a couple of other people, make sure somebody's telling me the truth. And that's the answer. If I feel like I'm being lied to, which is what happened with the Josh's Farmers Market debacle, I felt like I was being misled because I actually started on the town side of things in that issue. And so I did a public records request. And whenever you get 1,200 emails that tell you something, they tell the truth, whereas different people might give you a different spin. So then you go to the records. And so that's my idea of news, which is, actual news, the hardcore old school journalist, all the president's men type of journalism. That's my jam. That's
all right. And now you're taking the hardcore news of written format. And what? So is it going to be like sitting here smoking cigs, doing
Edward
the
R.
news?
Coffee? Yeah.
Coffee and cigs. Yeah. Bring me the report.
Let's run that baby.
Yeah. Hot off the press.
I don't know. I really don't know what exactly it's going to look like. But what I want to do is continue to do what I've always been known to do, and that is get both sides of a story. And, we listen, going back to the farmer's market, I always joke that Josh Graham, the owner, he, again, I was leaning towards the town on that one at first. And so, but I did tell his supporters, I said, I can't hear your emotional arguments. I've got to have facts. Like, I need information. I can't fight their facts with your emotions. So I contacted him, and to hear him say it, we talked for 2 different nights for 3 hours each. And he's like, at the end of that 6 hours, I looked at her, we were on the phone, but he said, I stopped and I said, what are you going to do with this information? And I said, well, I'm going to take it to the town and see what they have to say. I mean, what else are you supposed to do? And that's when, I got a little pushback, and I thought, okay, well, now I've got both sides of the story. So let's go to the records. And so I don't know. Who knows what it's going to look like, but I will listen to the community and what they want to hear about. And if there are concerns, like, I want to know more. I want to learn more about growth. I want to learn more about zoning. I want to learn more about how all that stuff pans out, how it works out, because there are simplified visions of that in the community where it's like, just stop it. I'd love to see that, but I'm also hearing there's no way that you can. So let's get to the bottom of it. Let's talk about it.
Sounds like you're willing to have uncomfortable conversations.
That's the name of the game. Yeah. For the most part, I mean, that's what it's all about.
But also about like putting the facts out and then let people decide which way they want to go.
Because really, with the facts, there are still 2 ways. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if y'all believe in Enneagrams, but I got hooked on.
Oh, yeah. Which one are you?
9.
Oh, that's a good one.
I just gave people a lot of information about me if they're into it.
Yeah.
I'm not a confrontational person, and I do like get almost paralyzed.
9's the peacemaker.
The peacemaker.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And I get paralyzed almost in indecisiveness because I see so well both sides of everybody's story. Mm-hmm. So like I said, I've changed my mind. The market, I changed my mind. So I don't know. The way that I look at what we're doing, we're just going to have a little bit of fun. We are going to have some tough conversations, but at the end, what I always say is I give you 2 + 2, I draw a line and I walk away. You got to figure out what your answer is. And I'm not saying one is right and one is wrong. Once I figure, I will pick a side. Once I do, I'll happily tell you why.
Yeah.
And you can check out Jaime Gatton on The Scoop every Friday now here on WSIC from 11 to noon. And it is video streamed, and so you will be able to access that video on social media. It'll be available on demand wherever you get your podcasts, and obviously the WSIC News app. Looking forward to a great show today. Anything you want to share with people about today's episode that comes out at 11?
We'll be talking a little bit more about what we talk about here. We talked briefly about data center. I do have the Idle Firewire on with me.
Oh, big guest.
Yes. To bring out the big gun.
Yes. Admin reveal today, too.
He was like, maybe people will see my softer side. I was like, I doubt it, big guy.
Looking forward to it. Check out The Scoop. It airs every Friday now from 11 to noon. Jaime Gatton, you know her already. She's your top-notch investigative journalist. You can send her information, too, if you've got to. We'll give you those details as well, and you can reach out to her if you've got questions, comments, concerns. That's what she's here for. She's here for you. Thanks, Jaime.
Thank you for having me, guys.